Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on Sunshine from Robin McKinley, a vampire story set in modern day. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Hey now, take a step outside.
So, I picked this up last May, I think. I was in Ireland at the time and I thought it'd be a really good choice of book to read while I was over there. And it was, to the point that I didn't want to read it when I came back, because when I came back it was summer, it was hot and sunny, and this book is very gray and dreary, and I just kind of wanted to wait until the winter, until the weather kind of changed to dark and dreary and cold, and you cuddle up with a good book in a blanket. I wanted to wait until that came to finish this book. So I began it in May, I finished it in December. That's just how this went. But basically it's set in modern day USA, a little town, like a little small town, and it's, modern day. We have vampires and werewolves and wizards and witches and all that kind of stuff. There are normal people, and then there are, the supernatural kind, and you have to be identified as one, etc. And when I first picked this up, I really started enjoying it. I really liked kind of the first quarter of this book, and then I fell out of love with it. At first, I thought it was because it's not dreary, it's not gray. I was like, why did I like it so much when I was in Ireland, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I am in America? And so I decided I'm gonna wait. It's gonna be dreary gray, very atmospheric to finish it. And I just did not like this book, unfortunately. Now, there were a couple things wrong with it that made me think about that, and one of those things is this book had a lot of potential. A lot of potential that was unused, in my opinion. So I felt like the big things, like the big payoff scenes, never happened. And I felt like a lot of things happened that weren't necessary, nor did they have a payoff, in my opinion. So, a little bit of a spoiler here. It's not anything big, but she has a cut, and the cut will not heal. And, you're like, oh, why won't it heal? Why won't it heal? Oh, we'll probably, get the answer to that in a little bit. But she drug that out to the point it was annoying. Number one, it was too slow, in my opinion. And then when it happened, it happened in a way that, number one, was weird. I get that these are vampires. I get it that it's weird. It's a vampire. It's weird. But I just was like, what is happening? And maybe that's the point of that scene. I did not understand it. Again, maybe this book is just not for me, but I felt like that was a big moment. And then it was kind of forgotten about. Kind of. And I felt like she was leading things up, like, she's Sunshine, the main character. Her nickname is Sunshine, her name isn't Sunshine, but, there's this whole moment in the first part of the book of her, being like, oh, well, I'm a magic handler, and da-da-da, and my father was so-and-so, and you don't get to know a lot about that, and she has a lot of worries about that, and that she expresses in this book. But again, it's dragged out to the point of, like, just ask your mom about your dad, ask her. And then, like, I just felt like I never got to the point that, like, like in a typical book it would be like, oh, well, I have all these powers, I don't know how to use them, da-da-da-da. oh, I understand why I have powers and how I'm this special person, and I'm gonna use that specialty to end the bad guy. And I didn't feel like that happened with this book. And people could debate this, absolutely. It wasn't what I expected. And again, that's not a bad thing. I did not enjoy where it went. I felt like the big payoff scenes was like, oh yeah, you just have magic. That's it. And then the cut scene was like this big event, and I'm like, I don't know, I just felt like it was a really good idea. It needed to be worked differently or different payoffs, and I just felt like it needed to have things added to it to make it more impactful, to make it a little bit more clear. Another thing I've had an issue with Robin McKinley, who is the author of this novel. I've read another book from her, and I wanted to give her another try and have something a little bit more modern than The Hero in the Crown, I think is the first book I read from her. And I had the same issue with that book as I do with this book, and it is when is this happening? She does it to the point, like, you know, you can have tone, third person, first person, whatever. She has it, like, in third person present tense, and then she does past tense as if it's present tense. There was a whole line in here, and I wanted to mark it for you guys because it was like, I couldn't, there were points I couldn't distinguish as, is she remembering this moment that happened in the past, or is it happening right now? It was like, oh, Charlie, I'm just throwing out a random name. Charlie, you know, said something to me. I would think about that later. But then she continues, like, I was like, you know, like, I would think about that later can be a present tense, but to how she worded it was like past tense. Like, what he said had a very big significance, and she would, you know, I would come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that. You know, hold that. We're gonna come back to that. But that's not what happened, and it was actually just present tense, and it was very confusing on how it was written, and I had that huge problem with The Hero in the Crown to the point I didn't enjoy it because I thought it was a flashback. The entire book, I thought it was a flashback, and I kept wanting it to get back to present tense or present day, and then I realized it is present day. Her tone is really weird. Also, something I wanted to say was, I definitely double checked this, and I think I'm correct in this. And this is a nitpick, in my opinion, but there was a portion of, I thought it was one mistake, and then I saw it again, and then I saw it 3 times in, like, one little, like, paragraph. The eyes switched to ones. And I thought, oh, well, that's just, like, the typeset, and I'm just noticing it looks like a 1. No. I actually, like, I held that page, and I went back and, like, looked at all the eyes, and in the same tense and whatever, and it was all an eye. Like, I could see it's an eye, not a 1. And it looked different than the ones. And I was like, does the 1 mean something? Like, is it supposed to be a 1? Is it supposed to be an eye? I got very confused with that. I think it's just a typo. But I don't know. I did not love this book. I wanted it to be something else than what it ended up being. And for me, this was not that book. I want to love Robin McKinley. Everyone raves about her. They love her. I can't get into her work, unfortunately. But that is my review. I would give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars because I did like the concept. I just wished it was just a tiny bit different. That I'm gonna get hate for that. But again, it's my review. and why it didn't work for me is because I needed things to be different. It didn't jam with me, essentially. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!